NathanIvey.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. And for Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, close fists, yeah, too strong. Team AI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlative, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? Jono be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of Grippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI, where my people at. It's the 513, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI, where my people at.
You know what? Straight off the rip, F Confederate Statues. Have you heard the latest? A statue of Robert E. Lee is scheduled to be melted and repurposed. The controversial statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee that found itself at the center of a deadly protest in North Carolina will soon be taking on a new form. Following a vote taken this past week by lawmakers, they have agreed to melt it down and turn it into a new piece of public artwork. When are we going to repurpose Mount Rushmore? Slave owners, those that were proponents of slavery, should never be celebrated in our culture. We should systematically do this city by city, state by state, statue by statue across America. You freaking lost, number one. And number two, your values are as what they say anyway, according to what people say anyway. American values and Confederate values, they just clash. That's what they say. I mean, just look at our European brothers and sisters, man. Their forefathers came over here, stole this country, and then created a whole new paradigm around themselves, right? Complete with statues reinforcing the ethos and value systems that some believed, some probably still believe in to this day. Maybe this is a Southern thing. This is a Southern thing for my Southern listeners. F Confederate statues and everybody closely associated with Confederate statues. Their mamas, their daddies, their uncles, all of them. It's about our culture. Well, start an online museum or something like that. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to see that nonsense. That's the end of that. They should take that and system. And you know, I love what they're doing. They're taking the same metal that was used at some point to honor, to celebrate, to magnify, to glorify Robert E. Lee. You racist bastard. I hope you burn in hell. In the rain. And they're taking that same metal and they're going to repurpose it, right? And turn it into something like, it's probably going to be like a beautiful work of art, you know, something that's really about reinforcing and magnifying the glory of the human experience, right? What we can create. And we should do that with all of these racist constructs, every last one of them. We should take them, repurpose them, and then for a greater good. If not, to serve the interest of the descendants of slaves, either or and or in some cases. Take those same fundamental materials, repurpose it, and make it something beautiful. right? Or make it reparations. That's even better. I love they're melting down and repurposing these Confederate monuments. I think I like it a whole lot better if we was getting checks behind it. You know what I'm saying? I think I really like it then. I like it, but now I really like it. I like it. Adults love checks, don't we? We love deposits in our account. You put a deposit in my account, we got something we working with, bro. Now we rolling. Now we rolling. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. I built this show for the internet. We are all children of the internet. This is the age of the internet. All the coolest shit is, excuse my language. Lord, forgive me for my brash delivery. All the coolest issues on the digital side of things is on the internet. The new world is digital. The old world is analog. The old world is terrestrial. This is the new world. In the new world, we talk about everything. And this morning will be no different. If you want to join the conversation, 513-873-7134. Not really, actually, if you want to add to the conversation, if you want to lend your voice, your opinion via your voice, right? If you want to give your opinion via your voice, 513-873-7134. But take this down, homie. Take this down, sis, before you call in. There's a fine print. Open your mind before you open your mouth. That's it. Or else tisk tisk with the flick of my wrist. The wise words of Boutros Boutros. Good morning to you, Boutros, if you're listening. Good morning to you. My kids are all about this holiday season. And we just my daughter gave us a list. We got the list. We was like, oh boy, this is going to be expensive. So she want ear pods. She want a new phone. She want this. She want cash. And on top of everything, had the nerve to ask for some damn cash. And cash. I'm like, what? She want a car. She want a car, some ear pods, a new phone, clothes, Jordans, and some fucking cash. Who in the fuck do she think she is? Who does she think she is? Who she think her parents are? What the fuck is she talking about? I kid you not. I kid you not. I kid you not. This mofo gave us a list, y'all. She wants a car. She wants AirPods. She wants a new iPhone. You know them joints is expensive. She want clothes. She want J's. She want J's. I don't even own any J's. I don't own no J's. She asking me for J's. Me. And cash. We looked at this list like, sis is tripping. Oh, where the she think we work? What the hell? Oh my God, these spoiled ass motherfucking kids. Is there anything more spoiled and selfish than a human child? I don't think so. I don't think so. Who does she think? What in the hell? Who she thinks she is? You better get your bars together, drop an album or something. What in the hell? We just looked at her like, we looked at each other like, okay, and mentally we're like, well, that won't be happening, and that won't be happening, and that won't be happening, and that won't be happening. So I guess at least two things. Anthony writes, better get a second hustle, Nate. I know that's right, bro. I know, man. Charles writes, medium booty shooting for the moon with that one, Nate. Yeah, she's shooting for the moon. I looked at this list like, I had to blink my eyes like, wait a minute, am I still in the Matrix with Neo, Morpheus, and Trinity? Huh? Am I awake? Because I would be dope as fuck in the Matrix, I'm telling you, but my outfit would be so nice. The skills would be on point. Excuse my language. Lord, forgive me for my brash delivery. Y'all can tell I'm on one this morning. I'm on one. So what? It is what it is. But I'll say it again, F Confederate statues. If you're just tuning in, they are melting down a Robert E. Lee statue. And I like this. I mean, I think we should do this with all the racist constructs. We should melt it down and repurpose it for the greater good and greater glory of humanity. And also, whenever possible, reparations for the descendants of slaves. This country will always be a racist country until it pays its debt, period. It's just no way around that. Just like Hamilton County will never win a Super Bowl until you pay your debt to God's children. It's just never going to happen. You know, we can wish you help and pray. It's never going to happen. Robert E. Lee. Oh, my God. We want things to stay the same way. Now, it's going to be melted down and it's going to be given to a local Black-led museum. So this Black-led museum is then going to decide what they're going to do with the metal. That's something. Interesting. A little bit of a tidbit that may or may not be on your radar screen. I say do the same thing with all of these racist constructs. Melt it down, repurpose it. That's what I say. But what do you say at 513-873-7134? So at the end of yesterday's show, a lot of people were responding to this news story about a man who was actually in a wheelchair who was shot by police. I actually kind of chance to watch the video after yesterday's show, and it's absolutely reprehensible. So apparently what happened is this man was in a wheelchair, right? And he was accused of stealing something, and people overreact to stealing these little bitty things, man. I mean, somebody stealing something worth a couple bucks. And by a couple, I mean, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 bucks, whatever. Let them take those trinkets and move on with their life. This man is in a wheelchair and he rolled out of, I don't know, Costco or Walmart or some store. And he's in a damn wheelchair. So it's not like he's rolling off with the Mona Lisa. He's probably got some damn trinkets. Couldn't be worth more than a couple of $100. You know what I'm saying? And let's say it was worth $500. Big deal. So at some point, the police officer tells him to stop, right? Dude's like, I ain't stopping. You're going to have to. And here's what the story is, because these reports came out later. Allegedly, he said something like, if you want me to stop, then you're going to have to shoot me. It's always a damn story like that, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, but people will say that kind of stuff, though. Don't get it twisted now. There's some people out there that just don't give a damn. That's you can see a little advance word from our sponsor coming up real soon. But allegedly, he told the police officer wanted him to stop. I believe it's a white male police officer, a younger white male police officer. The police officer is like walking next to him as he's driving away in the parking lot, right, with the knife. And the officer keeps telling him to drop the knife, drop the knife, drop the knife. He's like, nah, I ain't dropping the knife. At some point, he then decides he's going to drive back into the mall or back into whatever the business was. I just don't remember. And as he's wheeling himself in, because the man's in a damn wheelchair, as he's wheeling himself in with a knife in his hand, as he's wheeling himself back into the facility or the establishment, the shots ring out. It was like 7, 8 shots. And I was like, damn, that's overkill like a mofo. Shot this man like 7, 8 times. Bang, 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 bang. You know what I'm saying? The guy was in a damn wheelchair. Now, I wonder if this officer is going to do any jail time, because he might be able to say something like, look, he wasn't a threat to me, but I didn't know if he was going to be a threat to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. That's Home Depot, Lowe's. Home Depot and Lowe's. Not sure. Sarah writes, I don't give up about statues. They can stay or go. Doesn't matter to me because the institution still exists. Yeah, the statues got to go for me, bro. But I agree with you. It's like, what difference does that make? Well, I think it makes a difference. I think it makes a difference in the sense of, you know, if this country is serious about dismantling racism and really dealing with these inequities, then we got to deal with our racist history, right? And see, part of that part of dealing with our racist history is not just reparations. It's not just informing people about what the history actually is. It's also removing our connection to these modern day symbols of that racist history. Like, in no way, shape, or form should we be celebrating in any form or fashion. I don't care if it's a street name. I don't care if it's the name of a crack in the asphalt. In no way should our culture be celebrating the actions of slave owners. Now, you might be saying, well, damn, Nate, well, George Washington's on the dollar bill. I don't believe in none of all of that. I'm not in control. If we was in control, we'd do everything better, right? It would be a whole different thing going on real quick. Like Mount Rushmore, they need to deal with that. You got these races on the side of mountains, they got to go, right? So, I think it's bad for the culture, on just an energy level, man, a spirit level, like a subliminal level. It's just bad. That's just me. Michael writes, racism is here to stay. Absolutely. And so is the fight against racism, which I think on some levels we all are embarked on each and every day, right? You're right. Racism ain't going nowhere, but neither are the people that oppose it and fight it on every single level, in my humble opinion. That's just my opinion. Our friends over at Renew Community Church, they do a series of live streams, and these live streams are set up to address issues that you may have in your life. And a lot of them are really about relationships, but in particular, the relationship that you have with yourself. Okay, just keep that in mind as you see these promos that we've been looking at. That's the real tie and the nature of what they're trying to do. They stream live on Sundays at 11:45 a.m. You can tap in on Facebook at Cincy Renew, that's CINCI Renew, or on YouTube at Renew Community Church live stream. This week's topic, get this. Positive thinking and affirmations don't work unless learn what really works to make you happy and joyful and have fun in 2022. Now, this is all going to be led by Charlie Winburn. From time to time, he steps inside the chop shop. He enjoys the show and the flows, but you can enjoy that live stream on Sundays at 11:45 a.m. Good morning to you. This morning's topic, F Confederate statues, among other things. That won't be the only thing we discuss this morning. We've already added some different topics already. There's my number if you want to share the thoughts. I mean, you can always take a free ride on my thoughts. I get it. Not everybody is the kind of person that likes to call into a talk radio show, and not everybody has that kind of whatever. Not everybody feels comfortable. And you might just want to join the chat. And if you want to join the chat, tap in on Facebook or YouTube. Boom, that's the chat you see on the screen right there. To my people who are on Spreaker and on TuneIn, currently there's no way for me to add your chat. So typically on Spreaker, what I'll do is I'll jump over to the chop shop. And you'll hear that. And that means I'm reading from my choppers right here. Fox Rice, Rise and Shine, Young Stars. American pie isn't made out of apples. It's made out of whatever you can get your effing hands on. And Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you. To my people on TuneIn, I don't really check that chat a lot. Tap over onto Spreaker or tap into Facebook and or YouTube, and then I'd love to see you. Good morning to you. I would love to see you. F any and everything racist. I know that's right. F anything. Yeah, so I was sharing with you our daughter's outrageous Christmas list. I'm looking at this like, who the hell should think we is? This must be a wish list, which is what it was. She was like, dude, your daddy, I'm just putting everything on there just in case, that kind of thing. I'm like, okay. I'm glad we agree. That won't be happening. Oh, it's some damn Christmas. Man, we don't do all that. Man, listen. No, we're not doing all of that. I'm reading that if you get the booster shot from Pfizer, that it will automatically protect you from Omicron. That's what the early reports are saying right now. Again, I want to share the facts. Dale writes, what does she want for Christmas? She wants a car. She wants a brand new phone. She wants some AirPods. She wants clothes. She wants some damn J's. She wants some Jordans. and a new phone. I say a new phone and cash. On top of all of that, she wants cash. I'm like, what we going what makes you think there'll be cash left over? What are you talking about? We need some cash to make this list happen. Come on, some damn cash. Hilarious. Chris writes, tube socks. Tube socks. Okay. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? That's what dads get. Dads get ties and tube socks. Like nobody give us money. Give me some money. You know what I'm saying? Put a $10 cheap tie or just $10. If it had to be a very special tie. If not, give me the cash. I'm one of them fathers. My kids can give me cash for my birthday or Christmas. Feel good. It's never gonna happen. But Kush writes, good morning, Nate and the Mighty Choppers with the Z. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. I was this close to watching King Richard. It's on my Fire Stick now. And as I was about to get ready to watch it, I was reminded by some of the critics of that movie. There's critics of the movie King Richard. And they're being spurred on or edged on by, I believe, one of his daughters, right? So Serena and Venus's father was married to another woman and had a child before he married their mother and had them. I mean, damn, I hope he don't get mad about this, but actually, their father had a son as well. His son looks just like him. And I don't know if he's still here, but he used to play for the University of Cincinnati Bearcats. Good brother. I forget his name, but good brother. We used to work together in youth development. Good brother. Used to be a point guard for UC, and he is Serena and Venus's half brother, I guess you would say. Half brother. They share a father. And if you ever meet him, or if you know who I'm talking about, or you go back, if I said his name and put it out there, if you look at his face, he looked just like them. Looked just like their father. Now, I don't know if dude had money or not like that. He was just, when we were interacting, we was both working in youth development here in the city of Cincinnati. Look at Daryl Charles Williams. Look at you, man. That's right, Charles Williams. That's his name. He looks just like his father. And I never said anything to him about it. I mean, I didn't get it until somebody told me that later, or maybe. So we were working in youth development, and I think it was somebody else, a mutual colleague, who told me that. I'm like, really? You know what I'm saying? Black men be talking. I'm like, really? And then I start to see it in his face. Like, what? You're right, Daryl Charles Williams. He was a point guard for the University of Cincinnati for the Bearcats. Jenny writes, brother, I don't like half. I don't like half either. That's why I kind of like stumbled a little bit, because I don't really like half. I mean, you got blood, you got blood. It's really about how you grow up. I mean, you could grow up in your house with somebody and be closer, growing up your whole life with somebody that you have no biological blood with, and you have a biological brother or sister that you never grow up with, and you're estranged. You just guys you don't know each other. So it's really about who you grow up with. Yo, has anyone watched Sniping Vipers on Netflix? That's where we are headed. Metaverse. Sniping Vipers. Maurice, I'll check that out. Metaverse, huh? But back to what I was saying about King Richard. So people are saying that the movie is sexist. Does anybody see King Richard? You got black feminists, black women, white feminists, white women who are chiming in on the movie. And fans are even bashing Will Smith because they're like, well, y'all trying to glorify this man, but he did all this other stuff. He left the family. Did y'all hear this? Yeah, King Richard, he left the family and wasn't there for another family, but now y'all trying to make it seem like he's some type of great father. And I'm like, yo, that's some deep shit right there. That's worthy of a herd. Let's stop for a second. Brenda writes, Richard Williams' face shows up in all of his kids' faces, strong genes. Yeah. Let me see, Charles. I don't know Charles Williams like that, but we are friendly. Whenever we see one another, good brother. I liked him. I even liked him when he played for the Bearcats. I thought he was a good player. I thought he definitely had skills. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find an image of Charles Williams. Y'all gonna be like, oh damn, that is Venus and Serena's father. Brother. Let me see here. I wonder if he'll be pissed at me if I do this. I won't do it anyway because he'd be real low key in the city, man. You wouldn't even know it. You'd be in a room with Venus and Serena's brother, and wouldn't even know it. I'm telling you, it's so many people in Cincinnati, you have no idea, yo. Or maybe you do. Maybe you do. I don't know. Okay, this is Charles Williams right here. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm gonna do it anyway, just because I've said it and I want to complete the thought. But check this brother out. This is Charles Williams right there. Look at that. He look just like Richard Williams. And I don't know where he is in line or who his mother is. I don't know any of that stuff, but he played for UC. I know what I was talking about. I'm trying to play me, yo. But anyway, did anybody see King Richard? Is it a sexist movie? How could it be sexist and it's executively produced by Venus and Serena Williams? I don't get it. And does one thing have to cancel out the other? See, I hate when people do that. I hate when people do that. Benzino most recently did that. The last time somebody did this was the night of the NAACP gala, where your boy was given the Inspiring Innovator Award. I got to remind you that. If I don't toot my own horn, nobody else will. And Dr. Adele Owens was doing the keynote, and he said something that I still disagree with. That him and Benzino did the same damn thing. Benzino is he's a personality. He came up in hip hop. He was a part owner of The Source. He was on Love and Hip Hop, lots of drama. He was doing a series of interviews with Vlad on Vlad TV on YouTube. And he was talking about, what's the brother's name that just got shot from Memphis? Help me out here, man. I can see the brother's face, man. Young Dolph. So he was talking about Young Dolph, right? He's like, where's Black Lives Matter? Where's Black Lives Matter for Young Dolph? Where's Black Lives Matter for Young Dolph? And I'm like, that's not what Black Lives Matter was set up to do, yo. And then the same thing happened with, and I gotta crush this mentality real quick because it doesn't make it's unfair to Black Lives Matter, and it's unfair to anybody that's doing anything, quite honestly, and I'll tell you how in a second. And then the same thing happened with Odell Owens. He's like, all these things are happening and people dying of cardiac arrest, and he's talking about all of the disparities and racism that happen outside of the area of police community involvement. And he's like, where's Black Lives Matter for that? And I'm like, wait a minute. That's unfair. That is unfair. That is unfair to say, where is Black Lives Matter? That's not what Black Lives Matter set up to. Black Lives Matter didn't set up to deal with every issue that Black folks are dealing with. That's not what they were set up to do. And I'll give you a comparison. It reminds me of, I'm real close to the people over at the Erica J. Holloman Foundation, right? Erica J. Holloman's sister, she died of triple negative breast cancer, very close to our family. Her mother started a foundation. She's been doing good work ever since then, trying to raise awareness, really trying to save somebody else's life because her daughter already lost her life, right? Very close to the wifey, and therefore very close to me. And so their focus is triple negative breast cancer, right? But what if somebody said, well, all these people dying of prostate cancer? Why don't you talk about prostate cancer? You know, it's like the same thing I hear people doing Black Lives Matter. It's like, pump the brakes, Benzino. If you feel as if there should be an organization out there that addresses like rappers being killed and stuff like that, then create it. Go start it. But you can't tell somebody else that they should repurpose the organization they set up for your purposes. Who the hell we think you are? You can't tell. How you gonna tell a whole other organization's got a whole mission statement? Nope, that's not good enough. I want you guys to do what I think you guys should be doing. If you don't take your ass on somewhere, go do it. Go start it. Simple as that. I had to make that real sidebar real quick. Yeah, it's just a way. It's just another. They did the same thing in the civil rights community, man. Like when Martin Luther King was going on, the motherfuckers started talking about what time is it? 5 minutes over. Whew, I'm good. All the good kids are in school right now. If you're underage and you can hear my voice, that means there's a 75% chance you're a bad kid. 75% chance. Now that 25% is you probably had a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment. I know how it is trying to get in to see a dentist. You get in whenever they tell you can get in, right? Man, my next dentist appointment is like next year in March. It'll be spring. I'm like, I don't need a cleaning or anything. Come back in 5 months. Okay. Sounds good. I guess that's good news, right? I guess I'll take it. So there's only 75% of y'all, if you're a child, if you're underage and you're not in school right now, you've probably been drinking and smoking all night. Couldn't wake up and go to school with your bad ass. Go to school and get off this show. This show is not for you. Come back in 5 years when you graduate. We talk about adult stuff here, man. I won't have to mute myself. Sarai writes, I agree with you, Nate. Pisses me off when everybody wants to use Black Lives Matter as a sounding board. It's a way to delegitimize them. Well, y'all should be doing this, and y'all should be doing this, and why aren't you doing this, and why aren't you doing that? I'm like, I'm beyond that. If it's that deep, then, hey, just go create it. Chris writes, I'm on vacation and drinking right now, LOL. Enjoy your vacay, Chris. You in the islands too, bro? Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Have fun for me, man. I'm living vicariously through all of you. Have fun for me. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. That's hilarious. Brandy writes, good morning, beautiful people. Good morning to you. Y'all is wrong. But back to King Richard. Because you remember there was a woman, her name was Dr. Jessica Taylor, and she put out a tweet back on November. This is like before the holiday, asking, did they seriously make a film about King Richard, about the success of Serena and Venus Williams, but it's about their dad, Richard? And she was on some women should get their credit type ish, which I agree. For far too long, women have not gotten their credit. And so I think to make sure we balance things, that we should go overboard to make sure we give women their credit in a way that we have it in our culture. I'm with that. But that doesn't mean that there won't be movies that celebrate the contributions of a man. This was toxic femininity. When this Dr. Jessica Taylor tweeted this, did they seriously make a film called King Richard about the success of Serena and Venus Williams? Who runs the world? Girls, right? She's on that kind of stuff. Who runs the world? Girls. That might be true, but Richard Williams is the primary reason why his children, his two daughters, were two of the best athletes the world has ever seen. We saw it. We already knew the story. And at a time when Black men are still dealing with all the stigmatization, all of the hate, all of the criminalization, and all this kind of, what's wrong with having one movie that celebrates the success of both of them? Because like I said, your dad sets you up, but it was Serena and Venus that was hitting those balls on the clay. You know what I'm saying? On the court. It was them. So it's a partnership. It's a tandem. They don't reach greatness if he doesn't spark that flame. And no matter how much of a flame he sparked, if they didn't have greatness in them, they wouldn't have been great. Why can't that be good enough? Why has it got to be women at the expense of men or men at the expense of women? I don't really get it. And then, Richard Williams is being criticized, and Will Smith was criticized by his daughter that he had previous to his relationship with Venus and Serena's mama. And she's saying, look, y'all making him out to be some big old great thing. He wasn't that for me. He didn't do that for me. He wasn't there for us. Should that be a part of the movie? It's hard to say because it's somebody else's movie, but should it be a part of the story that's like in the forefront of the public's mind? I guess it all depends. Or was Richard Williams a complicated man, just like all human beings are complicated. Nobody is all good or all bad or all this or all that. We do multiple things. We go to church and we sin. You know, we give money to charity and we greedy. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it is. But you tell me, 513-873-7134, is it fair to criticize Will Smith and the executives of this movie, King Richard, because they did not include segments of the fact that he left a family or left a relationship? Now, we don't know the nature of it. He might have left an abusive relationship, because there are some women that abuse men emotionally, certainly emotionally. Absolutely. Women will try to play with your emotions if you let them. Physically, psychologically. Maybe he said, enough of that, man. I'm moving on. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi, buddy. How's things?
What's going on, fam? Good morning to you, brother.
Yeah. You talking about? Well, first of all, Black Lives Matter. I mean, we black folks are tired of falling for the civil rights jokes. People playing with our emotions, so they're calling out Black Lives Matter. You wouldn't have a problem if you want clearly a gay organization fronting for black people. And I think, and you can say what you want, that's a pretty consistent sentiment across the country about that group. Right, wrong, or indifferent. About Black Lives Matter. They're really a gay organization fronting like they care about black folks. And they only come out when black folks get killed by cops or whatever. So they brought that up on themselves once people figured them out. Every leader they had, from Johnetta to what's his name, Blue Vest Kid, DeRay McKesson, all their leaders and spokespeople have been outwardly and openly gay. You can say what you want, but this is a fact. Okay? But I didn't really call to talk about that. I called to talk about the Richard Williams movie. I saw it, the first day it came out, and you can verify, I've been very critical of the Williams sisters over the life of your podcast, have I not?
You have.
Yes. And I was pleasantly pleased with the movie. I took it as an apology letter to their dad for walking out, for them kicking them out of their lives. That's what I took it as. For me, it was an apology letter to him. And the sour grapes coming from the other siblings, from the other mother, the sour grapes. Listen, the story is told through Venus and Serena's eyes. Maybe they didn't know y'all like that. Get over it. To them, he was that dude. He was their first superhero. He's their only superhero, Daddy. And as far as they're concerned, at least with the movie, he did right by them. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I cringed at the part where those gangbangers beat him up, because I just couldn't imagine taking an L like that in front of my kids. You know what I'm saying? And not giving no resistance. You know what I'm saying? You remember that part? Did you watch it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. I don't mean to give spoilers, but yeah, I mean, it's been out for a couple of damn weeks. What you been doing? Yeah. And there's a scene in there where that kind of happens. I kind of cringed at that. I just couldn't imagine that happening to me. There were a few of them, but still, just because as a game official, Doc will probably tell you this: you have arguments with parents, and after a while, you just had enough. Like, all right, man, keep it up. It's gonna be an awkward ride home in the car with your son, knowing that he's looking at you after he just saw you get your ass whooped. You can come on this field if you want, but it ain't gonna come out good for you. And you tell them stuff like that. So, but as a sports fan, it brought to light a couple things for me. Like, I see why John McEnroe hates them. He was very critical of them as a tennis commentator. John McEnroe, the former.
Yeah.
You'll see it in the movie. You'll be able to put it together. It doesn't really show it, but there's a scene in the movie that he's in, and things that happen later, you kind of see why he might have been critical of them. It's more sour grapes. You know what I'm saying? These girls dealt with a lot on the ascent. So therefore, those other kids sorry about your luck. You know, Richard moved on, found a woman he was more compatible with, who helped sustain his goals for his children. She helped sustain them, and your mother did it. It'd be like that sometimes. Get over it. You know, and like I said, the story's told through their eyes about their dad. They probably don't know y'all like that. They just know y'all exist. Daddy got other kids that live wherever, but they probably didn't rock with y'all like that. You know, because he probably was like, you know, those kids are poison because of their mama. Keep them away from my daughters, Venus and Serena. So, but that's all I got, man. It's been real. There was a very important legislative measure that passed in Ohio that you seem to not want to talk about. So I'll catch you on another date.
Quite honestly.
No, you was about to call my assistant and set up some time to interview me. I don't have time anymore. I'm about to go talk to some people in New York now. I have an assistant. You know my number. You have to call her. Today is the last day you'll talk to me. From now on, you will have to talk to my assistant. Yes. I had to get an assistant to handle all the damn email requests.
Okay, well,
about to talk to some people in Rochester in about 20 minutes.
That's
it's
great.
Been real.
That means we've got 20 minutes. Hold up, real sec. That means we got 20 minutes. So
no, I don't. I don't. I have to go drink some tea.
About.
I need to go drink some tea. Get my throat ready. Get my voice. You know, I'm talking to New Yorkers. I don't want to sound like a country bumpkin.
Well,
you understand?
Not going to help you, but. So tell people what happened. What's the latest?
You tell them. You're the news man. It's your show. You want to know what happened? You want me to tell you? You can listen to my podcast. I'm not going to promote my podcast on your show.
Okay,
I have spoken.
You've been talking about your podcast on the show. What are you talking about?
No, I have not. I don't do that. That be dropping Glenn. I don't promote my podcast on your show. You know I keep it true to the game about that kind of stuff.
Dude,
yeah, I was the one telling people like
multiple times before, no matter what you say.
I was the one telling your fans early, quit using Tariq Nasheed slang on Nathan's show. They're lightweight competitors, and you was like, nah, that's cool. Come on, man. I always keep it true to the game about that. It does. Well, I don't promote my podcast. Don't do me like that.
You. All right, brother.
All right, it's been real.
Take it easy. See, Fame is one of them brand new brothers. He cool, but when he start taking off, now he got an assistant and everything. We can't call him. He can call me, but I can't call him. The hell is he talking about, man? Dale writes, Nate, get another source on the gambling issue. I see I'm gonna have to. You see. So your assistant's name is Lane Flosstein. Lane Flosstein. Flossenstein. Okay. Brenda writes, what the hell, right? Blah, 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 Fame. Shaking my head. That's Janice. You ain't feeling it, huh? It's not always the man's fault he doesn't have a good relationship with the kids. I'm just saying. The assistant broke up the alt mental. Yeah, it was the assistant. Now we know. Fame got an assistant, and then something happened with him in Black Russia. Terry writes, probably Google Assistant. That's a Google Assistant. No, I mean, I think the sports betting angle is going to be big money, man. You already got major players like DraftKings. I was just on YouTube watching something about sports betting, and so it's going to be a lot of money in it. You know, these every state is opening it up, and you'll be able to go downtown to a bar or maybe the casino and a bar and wager on sports. You know, that's a new revenue. You know, you got a lot of state budgets that are struggling. They're facing challenges. I'll put it that way. They're facing challenges in this market, in this climate, should I say. And so they're looking for an injection of new revenue streams. And it's going to be big money in it. So I think it's great. I hope it works out for them. I wish them nothing but the best. You already know how I do. Wish you nothing but the best. Kelly writes, good morning. Glenn writes, good morning. Nikki writes, good morning and morning, everyone. Brenda writes, I'd make a flower pot out of that metal or a door stopper. Maurice writes, I try to figure out about this slavery stuff because we congressmen in the 1880s, who put them in office? I think it was more indentured servitude. Okay. Charles writes, I was in the Family Dollar in Mount Healthy a few years back, and as I'm turning to go into another aisle, there was a brother with a damn near the whole store in his sweatshirt. He looked at me all bug-eyed. I grabbed my items and went about my business. I grabbed my items and went about my business. Clearly, that brother was having a hard time navigating life. I did the same thing. It's not mine. What I look like telling on you? I mean, listen, if it's that important, you better put security up here. I'm not your security. Mm-mm. Like, remember the story of Spider-Man? Spider-Man got his powers, and I think he had just like decided he was gonna do like wrestling or something like that. And he was like, oh man, I can make some money. You know, he was gonna use his new Spidey powers for hustling, right? All about the money, all about the Benjamins. And so as the comic book story goes, or the story goes, it kind of changed a little bit when they went to the big screen. But as the story goes, Spider-Man becomes aware of a robbery in progress. The person that stole something is running away. And Spider-Man like walks right past him, like, not my problem. And the police officer's like, man, why didn't you stop? And then we find out, at least in the comic books, is that same robbery suspect that Spider-Man could have apprehended like the day before or something like that, kills his Uncle Ben. And so it becomes this whole thing like, I've got to use my powers for good. There's only 1 degree of separation, right? Things like that. And so, you know, having said all that, I would still, having said all of that, if I'm in a store, I'm in the dollar store, I'm not trying to snitch on you for no trinkets. That's not my job. My job is to get my items, get my ass through the line, and get my ass back to wherever I'm trying to get to. That's it. Shot him in the back. Yeah, shot him in the back multiple times. The guy just slumped over in his wheelchair, right? Just slumped over. You just killed I told you anybody can't get it from law enforcement. I told you Americans, Mexican Americans, Chinese Americans, Pakistani Americans, Jewish Americans can get it too. Y'all ain't exempt. You can get it. African Americans can get it. Anybody can get it, right? Handicapped persons, Americans can get it. You can have Down syndrome and they will light your ass up. And I'm speaking on things that have already happened. Oops, we thought it was a sandwich. Oops, my bad. I thought it was a taser. It's like everybody can make a mistake except for us. When our kids make a mistake, they want to make an example out of you. Oh, we got an arch criminal here. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Meanwhile, you got people that got whole training and everything, like full-time training, big-time training, making mistakes. Like, oops, I thought it was a weapon. I didn't know it was a weapon. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Oscar Grant, remember that? Fruitvale Station. Shit is so real. This country ain't serious about it, though. That's Michael. Let me see. Dale writes, Stone Mountain needs to be erased. Maurice writes, yet my people celebrate these pagan holidays. I used to until my eyes were open. Oh, man, you've been unplugged for the Matrix, huh? Don't forget Stone Mountain, Georgia. Absolutely won't. Thank you for reminding me. The fight against racism isn't going anywhere either. There is never a bad time to do right. I'm with you on that. Yeah, silly, man. I'm catching up. My sister Iris in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Tiffany writes, it's easy. Shop for. I'll take gas. I'm easy to shop for. I'll take gas card, gift cards, grocery gift cards. I know that's right. When you grow a gas gift card, you done made my day. Because gas is stupid right now. It's just stupid how high gas is. Charles Martin writes, the youngest daughter from the first union, Richard, had about 5 kids before leaving that family and starting a new one, which produced Venus and Serena. I don't think it's fair to judge a man because just like, we don't do this with women. If when a woman leaves or something like that, other women automatically legitimize it. They're like, he must have did something wrong. Something must be wrong with him. But when a man does that, y'all automatically assume something's wrong with him. And I don't know why Richard left his first wife. I don't know why. I'm going to assume he had a good reason to get out of there. He said, I'm out of here. This ain't working for me. And then he went on. He had these 2 children with his second wife. And they end up being big time somebodies, big time stars. So it is what it is. Brenda writes, King Richard played a huge part in both Serena and Venus' mental stability that push they needed to deal with the overt and covert racism in the tennis land. Those sisters were vulnerable, and like sponges, the sisters needed daddy more than ever to protect that vulnerable part. And King Richard was seen as a threat. The mud they threw at Venus and Serena rarely stuck. Hey, what's up, Sandra? She writes, good morning, happy people. Good morning to you, Sandra. Let me see here. That's my understanding as well, Brenda. That's what I understand as well. 100%. Good morning to you. Yeah, if you saw King Richard, I want to get your thoughts about it. You know, they're saying it's sexist because it props him up and gives him props. And I guess some people are saying all the props should go to Venus and Serena. There's enough props to go around. And then secondly, they're saying that shame on Will Smith. How dare he produce and get behind and act in a movie like this in which this man, you celebrating this man, he's a deadbeat. So let's say this. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, that Richard Williams, Venus and Serena Williams' father, although he was in the life of Venus and Serena, and we know that, and all the great things he brought to their life, bringing out that Black excellence. Let's say he was a deadbeat father to the children from his first relationship. You know what I'm saying? It seems like with some men, when the relationship with the mama go bad, the relationship with the kids go bad. That's what it seems like. Your mama tripping. She ain't want me. Oh, I had to leave. I'm leaving all of y'all. That ain't right. It's what people do. But let's say he left on some deadbeat type ish and basically turned his back on his first kids and raised the children that he had with his second wife, should I say. Does that make him, I mean, how would you view him then? How do you, to me, I think that makes it more complicated, right? And people are complicated. People can do great things. Like you can have somebody that can create that, like a person can do things that make them seem different, right? They might even be opposite. Like you can have a person that their behavior demonstrates like extreme altruism and giving and selflessness. At the same time, that same person can do very selfish things and display very selfish behavior. What does that mean about them? Is that just the complexity of being human, struggling for maturity and understanding? I'm not asking you. You tell me what you think. Because those mothers are still taking care of all their kids. There's no luxury option of leaving vulnerable children behind because you don't get along with the father. WTF? Jerica writes, that is an untruth. Okay, what is an untruth, Jerica? Because I know you are here to set me straight. I already know. Or maybe you're talking about somebody else. Benzino has no neck. He does not. He does not. Brent writes, a movie could be sexist if it has a women executive producers, just like some Black folks can be white supremacists. Okay, Brent, you're right about that. You're right about that. But you're right. You're right. You could have female executive producers, and the movie can still be sexist. You're right. In this scenario, you got, and I like the way Fame put it, this is the story through the eyes of Venus and Serena. It's about that particular family unit. It's not about any other family units. It's about that family unit. Does what happened before that matter? Yeah, it does, kind of. But what really matters is what he did for Venus and Serena. It doesn't really matter what he did with the other kids, or does it? He could have been a trash father to those other kids. But to Venus and Serena and their little bubble and their little story, he was everything. How do you feel about that? At 513-873-7134. If you want to share your thoughts, you can always chill. Let me do the heavy lifting. John from Princeton is on the line. Let's go straight to my friend John. John, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey and the good people of Cincinnati and the good people around the world. And yes, those choppers. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, John. Welcome.
Before we get to the Confederate statue, I missed your opening dialogues and statements. I'm assuming you were talked earlier about the statues of the Confederate flags. Sorry, I missed that. And I will listen to the show after it's over and pick up whatever I missed. But before we get to that, you're talking about Venus and Serena, which I followed their career. I'm a tennis fan. I love tennis and I love watching them. Matter of fact, I love watching the women more than I love watching the men. The men are too
Of course you
fancy.
do.
Men are so fancy. They're slamming the balls. But women play basic. Well, let me just back off a second. Venus and Serena changed the game. You are right. You know, they had changed the game. I followed them when they hit the scene many years ago because I played tennis right after college, and I still play off and on whenever I get a chance. But their game has really changed the women's dynamic circuit for years. And when they leave, they had set the tone. And matter of fact, if you look at the money, they changed the game to money. The women should be applauding in the tennis circuit because when they hit the scene and started making those endorsements, that changed the whole dynamics of women's tennis. Women weren't getting paid like the men tennis circus, but Venus and Serena changed all of that. So, everybody, I haven't seen the movie and I probably will see it. I think it's up on YouTube now. I saw something on YouTube an hour ago. I'm going to click and maybe at some point I'll watch it, but I know their career. I understand what the writer and the directors listening to your spill on them and some of the callers. I understand where they're going. Everybody has their opinion. I respect that. That's fine. But the writer and the director take their own spin on a project that they want to do, and they know they're going to piss people off. Hey, you left this out. You left that out. That's not right. It's correct. Hey, dude, then you do it yourself if you don't like what you see. That's my opinion on that. But, it's just talks more about their career as they're now winding up their career, fading off to the sunset. Not too many people know when they hit the scene when they were young with their beads in their hair and yeah, pissed off the whole tennis circle. Who are these young black girls out there? But they changed the women's circuit when it came to tennis, and they took Martina Navratilova out. She knew it was time to bow out because these girls were hitting hard. They were fast and they took them out and several other, I can't remember who the other women that played, but when Venus and Serena hit the circuit, some of those older tennis women that were still hanging around said, it's time to go. I can't compete with these girls. So, I have great respect for them. And I have a cousin that lives here in Florida. She used to play tennis and years ago, and she had to stop because of knee problems. And they had a house, yes, in Compton, there, California, and they still have their house down here in Florida. And they watched them, and everybody has their opinion, but it is what it is. I'll leave it like that. Let's get to the Confederate flag, and I'd like to hear if you can quickly give me a quick overtone on what I missed earlier.
I was talking about a Robert E. Lee statue that's down in North Carolina. You may or may not remember, but that was ground zero for a violent social interaction. There were some
Yes,
people out there
yes.
protesting it. Well, it's been decided they're going to melt it down and then repurpose the metal for some kind of local work of art. There's a black lead museum in North Carolina that's going to take the metal and then oversee what it becomes. So they're going to turn it into some kind of work of art, something like that,
Yes.
which I like the
Yeah.
idea of repurposing these racist constructs for the greater good of our people and also reparations for the descendants of slaves. So that was essentially my flow on it.
Okay. Well, that's your opinion. My opinion, and I've heard it over the years, even when Black Lives Matters hit the scene and they were pushing for some of these statues in the Deep South and across the country to be taken down. Well, my opinion is I say no. Leave those damn statues right where they are. We have to understand, see, people that don't understand history repeats the same stupid mistakes over and over again. So to come to history, American history, if you talk about slavery, which I'm down for 100%, I'm down for reparation, let's make it clear. But these statues represent a dark part of history that we do not want to talk about, and we want to go away, some of us in the Black community. I say leave those statues there. The statues should stay there so black kids as well as white kids and people across the country will understand we built this country. And here's the evil part of Robert E. Lee and other characters in the Deep South that has these statues up. We have to remind people the evil of who they are. Melting that statue down is not going to clear up the evils of history and what they've done. Their names are inkling in this country. It is infused in this country and it's not going to go away. So you can melt a statue or move a statue if that's what you want to do, but it's still there. If you talk about slavery, you're going to talk about Robert E. Lee and all these other characters. You have to make sure these kids in school understand who built this country. And if you don't, some of us in the black community, our ancestors are shaking in their graves saying, you know, this is what we've done, marched from the South. We've been whipped, hanged. We had to carry that ball of chain on our ankles coming off that slave ship. And you don't want to remind your kids that got it real good today of what we went through and who the evils are, Robert E. Lee and other names, which we don't have time to go through. But
Hey,
I
John.
say leave the statue there.
Hey, John.
Nathan,
I got
I
a
say
question from
leave it.
Jenny. Jenny wants to know. Ask John how he feels about the plantation homes.
The plantation homes should stay there too. Once again, I just stated we have to remind these kids in school. See, some of us grown-ups are the ones that don't want to talk about it. It's just the kids are interested in this from K through 9, colleges, universities. Kids want to know about the plantations, how 50 to 60 people lived in one slave house, plantation house. That's incredible. I won't tell you what I'm working on. I've been kind of quiet, but I'll give you an inkling of what I'm working on. And we're launching a website called Sankofa African American 3D Museum. Yes, a virtual reality museum focusing on slavery. We focus on New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, 16, 17, 1800s. We talk about the evils that New Jersey and New York, which was the last two states that held on to slavery. Oh, and the website is up. Go to SAA3DM as in Mary.org. The website is up, but the 3D museum will not launch until February of next year. We're
What's the
still
website
working.
again?
It's called Sankofa, African American 3D Museum. I'll say it short. SAA3DM as in Mary.org. It's the first African American 3D virtual reality museum. That's what Facebook is moving, and everything is going virtual reality, Nathan. And any company that's out there on the internet, if you're not moving into virtual reality, you're going to be left behind. But I'm proud to say we will be the first virtual reality 3D museum in the country and around the world when we launch. The website is there, but the 3D part will not launch until February. So, you know, it's a lot of hard work I've been doing and the group of people, team of people I'm working on to create this site, the 3D part. And we'll be collaborating and partnering with the right companies that want to move the brand. That, once again, that's what Facebook is moving on. You see that commercial that Facebook were running all the time, Meta, whatever they want. I mean, I understand Facebook want to change their name because of the political pressure that they're on because of that election, but that's another day and another time. But virtual reality people and companies that are out there that's listening to the Nathan Ivey Show, that's where things are going. Virtual reality.
I love
And
it,
if you're
man.
not,
Look at you. Look at our brother. Look at Lawrence E. Walker, chairman of the board. Can I screenshot this from your website?
oh, no problem. You give me a little press.
I
I don't
told
mind.
people you was official, John. People just don't know. They be clowning on you. They don't know John is real out here. Hold on, let me
It
show you what
doesn't.
John's doing.
It doesn't bother me if people clown on me. I know
Look
where
at
I'm
you,
at,
man.
and I
Chairman of the
know where I'm
board. Check
going.
you out.
I know where
Okay.
I'm going and
Okay,
know where I'm
board.
at. One day I'll be
Okay.
sitting. One day I'll be sitting alongside of Mr. Zuckerman, or, Nathan Ivey. If you look at where Facebook is going with this virtual reality, they're really copying off of PlayStation, the Sony Entertainment. I've studied all this stuff for the last year. Virtual reality is this stuff is really going. They're really Facebook is looking at it as a money grab. So when you click on Facebook, when they get that virtual reality up and going, if you want to see a house, it'll be virtual reality. If you want to buy a car, it'll be a virtual reality. Everything is going virtual reality. So these companies, if you're not moving in that direction, you're going to be left behind. So you better get up to speed or collaborate and partner with the right company that can move you in that direction. And that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half, getting ready for this launch. And it's going to be a work in progress, the site. Yeah, we're going to tweak the site, virtual reality. We'll have everything in that site, 4 levels of a building that you can, at the comfort of your house, won't cost you a dime. We're going to link to schools, K through 12, colleges, university, libraries across the country and around the world. I predict this site is going to make Facebook look like they're standing still. That's my prediction, but we shall see.
Well, John, thank you for your call, brother. I appreciate you.
So to your dollar talk about the Confederate flags or anybody that feels these statues that need to be taken down, I say no, leave those statues right where they're at and educate people on who the evils of these people were at that particular time. Have a nice day.
Appreciate you. Take it easy. Yeah, that's John. John is official out here. Don't be fronting on John. Y'all don't know who y'all talking to or talking about. John out here making things happen, yo. I told you. Told you. Said it before. This is the Nathan Ivey Show. This is the home of the choppers. The people in this room, they out here doing things, influencing on multiple levels. Look at John. Look, John, look official. Lawrence E. Walker. What up, Lawrence E. Walker? That is John. Black Mr. Burns, I told you. It's just like Mr. Burns, don't he? From The Simpsons. It looks just like him. But that's just a joke between me and my brother. You can't say that. I can say that. Before we go any deeper in the show, family, I want to remind you again, of course, we talked about this earlier, but you'll hear this throughout the rest of the week. Our friends over at Renew Community Church, they are doing a series of live streams. And in my opinion, these live streams are dedicated to educate you about the most important relationship you ever have in your life. And that's the relationship with yourself. You can tap in on Facebook at Cincy Renew, that's CINCI Renew, or on YouTube. Now, on YouTube, you tap in at Renew Community Church live stream. This week's topic, get this. Positive thinking and affirmations don't work unless. Learn what really works to make you happy and joyful and have fun in 2022. And of course, the conversation will be led by Charlie Wimber, who was in here just a little bit earlier. He still might be here. Tap in on Sunday. Listen to Straight Talk. And it comes on at 10 a.m., 10 to 11. And then tap back in at 11:45 a.m. And the beauty of it is you can tap in and tap out whenever you get ready to. It's so easy. You can tap into what could be a wealth of information. Again, it seems to me like a lot of what they do with these streams is they are talking about relationships. In fact, the most important relationship that any human being is ever going to have. The relationship with yourself. You can manage that. You can manage anything in this crazy world. Nathan, do you watch the live stream on Renew Community Church? I have, yes. I don't watch it every Sunday, but of course I've tapped in. I tapped in the very beginning before we started this, when we first started, because I wanted to see what it was that they were, delivering. So I typically do, like, if it's something like that I promote, I'll tap in and look at it first to see if I think it's something that I want to be involved with, quite honestly, and or whether it's worth your time. But you know me, I'm more of a I've got the ebook. Yep, and I downloaded it. I read every page of it. So yeah, I mean, I try to do that just so, because you never know. You never know. Brent writes, John's book and website has been pending coming out for the same amount of time that Dr. Umar Johnson his school. Brent, you wrong for that, man. Go to the corner. Go into the corner, Brent, and do not come out for the next 5 minutes, man. You is wrong for that. Now, why are you going to link him to Dr. Umar Johnson? Everybody that know that Dr. Umar Johnson is having some struggles with his school. FDMG, Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey, that's FDMG, brother. You know what I'm saying?
It only takes a little bit of white brainwash to activate the coon chip.
That's all it takes. It's my brother right there, Dr. Umar Johnson. You are funny. He said John's book. John has put out like 2 books since I've been doing this show online. Literally. And he had a book he had out before that. Like, John is a real live author. I've got the book over on my shelf right now. I could bring it out and show it to you. He signed it for me and everything. Nothing like a signed copy of a book from the author. Psh, ain't nothing better than that. Ain't nothing better than that, especially if it's a book you really like and like the author signed it. Oh, and don't sign it to me and put my name in there. Psh, Cloud9 shit. Cloud9 shit. Hey, what's up, Donnie B? I miss her voice. I miss Donnie V's voice. I miss her flows. The world is not right. The world is not right. TNT is such a Negro and bitter baby mama. What the hell? Man, if you don't leave TNT alone, people do what they want. They do what they want. They want to do and make excuses for the things they don't. If they dad wanted to be a father to all his kids, he would have like Nick Cannon. A mountain could not stand in his way. Correctamundo, TNT. You're right about that. You're right about that. Like, as a man and a father, nothing in this world would ever stop me from being with my children if I want to be with my children. Let's say me and my wife broke up and it was terrible and she left me for another dude and now she's living with the dude and the kids are there. It don't matter. Those are my children. They always gonna know daddy. Daddy always gonna be there. What your mama do is what your mama do. So you're right about that. But we also don't know the particulars of why he left, quote unquote, left his family. It could have been, it was a bad scenario. I'm leaving this. For all we know, his first wife could have been abusive. Why we tell women to leave abusive relationships, but we want men to stay in abusive relationships? We don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. You know, most men will leave for a reason. I don't know. Or he could have found a better deal. Let's be honest with you. Maybe he was on some selfish human type ish, because humans are very selfish. Maybe he was on some, you know what? I think life with her would be better. Didn't Oprah tell us to live our best lives? So I don't know why. I don't know why. All my question to you is, I saw the controversy. It's been going around for some weeks now. It's kind of died down a little bit of people criticizing this movie and criticizing Will Smith. And I put a scenario to you. Let's say that Richard Williams, the father of Venus and Serena Williams, the man who helped shepherd them to greatness, undeniably, let's say he was a deadbeat dad to his other kids. How do we process his story? Like, let's assume for the sake of the argument, he was on some straight up deadbeat dad type stuff. He could have been there for them damn kids, but he wasn't. Okay. But we know he was there for Venus and Serena, and they became 2 of the greatest female athletes of all time, Craig. Right? We know that. So how do we process this story? Is he a good guy or a bad guy? Is he a hero or is he a criminal? How do we take this? How do we take this? How do you take it? Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Told you. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Nathan.
Hey, what's up, Maze?
Oh, Robert. I didn't know Robert E. Lee's great granddaughter. And I was speaking at her about them taking her grandfather's statues down, and she thought it was funny. So some history that's going you can take. And I say about those statues, we didn't put them up, and we're not taking them down. Because if it were left up to us to have them taken down, they'll still be up there. So the same people that put them up are the same people that's taking them down. So that's how I feel about the statue. But when it comes to her grandfather, the secret that nobody really knows that he had black kids. And when they look at Robert E., now that's a good thing, but the things that he did, and he have grandchildren walking around here. with a history of him. So sometimes we sit and we, have a conversation about things and what should be done and what shouldn't be done. So a lot of things that was done is going to always be here as history in somebody's history book, in somebody's Bible, in somebody's book. And the virtual reality came out when they came out with the virtual reality, that little machine that you get in and you watch, and what the thing that they did with Prince on that stage.
Oh,
it's
the hologram.
It's already, yes. This is the future of what we will see. That's part of history. They're gonna go back to history and show that too. So sometimes when we say stuff like what they shouldn't do, it's not us doing it. It's the one that put it up is doing it. So if you put up a whole lot of stuff and you dealt with it through the years and you let it be there, and then all of a sudden you think it needs to go, you're not taking away history. You're just removing something that you don't want to see anymore, or it's the time for that is gone, and you're just moving it on. And that's what's happening. So I was just giving you a little tidbit about his granddaughter that I always pick at her when I tell her they're taking your grandfather's statue down. But it's a story that hadn't been told. And there's a lot of stories about a whole lot of those haters and the things that they did. That's always going to be a part of history. But they hate it and they love it at the same time, but in an unlawful way. So that's the way I see it. And you have a good one, Nathan.
Okay, you too, Mace. It's Mace checking in. I appreciate the call. Charlie Winburn writes, the messages are direct, raw, educational, and funny each Sunday at Renew Community Church at 11:45 a.m. Unbelievably raw, he writes. You know me. I'm Mr. Pull the prophylactic off the microphone and give it to you raw. You already know. So many flows over the years. You lose track with the flows. Flows just come so easily sometimes. Let's go back to the phones and say good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Nate. This is your number one fan, the most hated man in the chop shop, the most hated man on YouTube, Mr. Ivy. What the hell was that on your show? Who was that?
Call? She was telling us a story
Come
about
on, Nate.
Robert E. Lee's great-granddaughter or something like that.
Who the hell? What the hell is she talking about? Wait. Hold up, Nate. I saw the look on your face, brother. I've been watching this. When she picked up, I'm like, let's see what she gonna say. Let's see what her flows are when she don't have me to chase down and to fact check and to criticize. And this is what we get. This is what she has to offer to the show without talking about me. Mr. Ivy, I saw the look on your face when she said that she spoke to Robert E. Lee great-granddaughter. That means that woman got to be over 90 years old. How old is Maze? What's her favorite drink in the morning? Do she pour it in her coffee? Do she take it straight or she put it on the rocks? But to have her get on your show and talk that gobbledygook and you just sit there and not say a word, Mr. Ivy, she talking about, well, how she go? She go, well, people who put them up need to be the ones who take them up. We ain't taking down nothing. If it's up to us, they gonna stay up. What the hell she talking about? The people who put them up did take them down. The city officials who erected the statues in their town squares, in their public gathering places, they're the ones who took them down. They got pressured by the Black Lives Movement, by the Black Lives Matter movement, by activists, by just Black protesters who aren't happy with that community. They petitioned the city who put the statues up to take the statues down. Now, this one city that's melting down the statue, that is a unique idea, but, we got to wait and see what they do with the metal. But, I mean, like John said, just because you remove a statue doesn't mean you remove the history behind the statue. And the way I see it, Nate, with the whole statues, and I know how you feel about the statues, substance over symbolism. And again, a statue is a symbol. To me, I call it statue activism. And that's what it has become, Mr. Ivy. It is a way to to activate people's thoughts when it comes to black, white, police relationships. This is the symbol. If something happens in your city or your city represents something, our activism is going to get a statue removed. And that will show the level or the degree of our activism, if that's a word. But that's the way I see it, Mr. Ivey, because there's only so many statues you can take down until you start taking down the Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial, replacing everybody on United States currency. I mean, it's going to be a whole lot of things taken away, but it will not replace the history of this country. It is America. There's no white history. There's no black history. There's no Asian history. It is American history. Everybody right here today is the offspring of the American history. And like Fane Rothstein says, you know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I'm going to get that saying to Fane Rothstein, even though you know it's mine, Mr. Ivey. But, man, I'm telling you, Nate, you better start saying something to Maze, because she may not know the condition that she's in, Mr. Ivey. Because you always want to check me and make sure you take it. I just can't, Mr. Ivey. I appreciate you, sir. But as far as the statue activism, how long must this bullshit go on? Substance over symbolism. Where's Sleepy Joe? Where he at now, Mr. Ivey? He going around telling people how good things are. Oh, maybe Glenn from Mason can call in and tell us how great the Democrat Party is and how excited he is to go vote for the Democrats in 2022. Oh, where you at, Glenn? Just for $52 to anyone who wants to fet. What? Bye.
What the hell? We'll go ahead and rack him. That man is only getting worse. It's only getting worse. Drop is high AF. He might have been. Oh, damn, super goofy. Somebody did have a question in here that I thought, it's a lot of good questions. Here we go. That's Nakia. I think John from Florida likes watching women tennis for the same reasons the dirty old men like younger women. Jericho writes, if his other children want to highlight their father from their perspective, they should do their own movie. Right. Right. I feel the same way, Jericho. We agree on something? Oh, dear Lord. I want to switch my position just because I do not want to agree with Jericho on anything. I'm switching my position. No, we agree on this one, Jericho. We agree. I'm torn. TNT wrote that she felt like his earlier history, like him leaving his family. And I think a man or a woman or a human being is nothing more than the accumulated experiences and learning lessons and goals and life lessons they have up until that point. And so perhaps part of the reason why he poured so much into Venus and Serena was because of the fact that he left his earlier family under whatever circumstances we don't really know. I don't know the circumstances. So maybe one doesn't happen because of the other, but I mean, what are the critics of this movie, including his daughter? What is her goal? Is her goal to say, look, he's not really a good guy because he wasn't there for me? Is that the whole point of it? I don't know. Brenda writes, John is addressing points from his crib notes. What do you think about Jobs' website? Dare writes, John don't vote. Deshaun writes, we don't need racist statues to remind us not to make the same mistakes. History is in the books and online. Right. I say get rid of them. Charlie Wimber's in the house. Good morning, Thursday morning winners. Donnie B writes, no, the statues were erected to honor slave owners and racists. Put them in a museum. Don't keep that ish posted in the city as an honor to those evil men. Those are my thoughts exactly. Ask John. I think I read that. Kevin writes, I agree with John. Kids will forget, but not the Caucasian kids. It would be the black kids that forget. I don't think. So John was like, no, keep the statues up because when black kids see them, it'll remind them that there's a struggle and things that happen and everything that needs to happen, and it'll keep them energized for the fight. And I don't believe that's what's really happened. I think that could happen, but I think the larger thing that's happening is the glorification of slave owners. It's like no matter what people say and what people do, you go to your city or your hometown and there's a Confederate flag or a Confederate monument or something like that. There's just going to be a certain aura that gives off. There's a certain acceptability, right? Acceptedness to what this person stood for. And if that person stood for the Confederacy, that person stands for pro-slavery. So why do we want pro-slavery uh uh anything, any kind of structure, right, in our public, like if what you do in your own house, or if you got a private museum or something like that, cool, you can have a whole Confederate room. You could take that third bedroom that you thought was going to be your Peloton room, drag the Pelotons out, put them in the basement, and then make that your Confederate trophy room, right? Confederate everything, you got everything, right? You can recreate the battles with like Confederate army men. You can do all of that, okay, at your house. But in public, that should be any kind of structures in public, I think, should not be so overtly wrong. And it should be overtly for the general public good, in my humble opinion. That's just what I think. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Sound like you're talking about CRT, Nate. How are you doing, man?
I am talking about CRT.
Right. You don't want that, boy. You're going to scare the hell out of these people.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Good morning, brother.
It's amazing how that works. Good morning, man. You know, I want to address Drop's foolishness because apparently his get out tee was laced with fentanyl this morning. I don't know what the hell that was. But let me say this, because I want to get to John's call. And I'm only saying this, John, not to put any shade on you, but just to bring to your attention and the audience's attention how, remember the argument made about the white lady in Tennessee who I believe it was like her 8 or 9 year old son that was just so distraught that he had to read about the civil rights movement or about slavery, and they wanted to ban, what was it, the Toni Morrison book, I believe. Remember that case, and that had kind of jump started it all in the state of Tennessee, I believe. Or
I don't remember that case.
No, it was actually Virginia, because I think she kind of like hooked up with Glenn Youngkin at the time, and that helped propel him. But whatever it is, the point was that because of CRT, and of course Drop and his little friends, they all jumped on this. It's about the children, and the white children are being traumatized because they have to have this seat. They're being taught CRT. To go back to John's point, now John wants to keep the plantations alive, keep these statues up, so people can learn about the history. And my point is, either John truly believes that our little boys and little girls are so mentally strong that it won't affect us, or we're going back to this old idea that black people, we just mentally tougher than anybody, and things that might traumatize white people really don't affect our kids. You get what I'm trying to say, Nate?
I think I do. I think I follow.
It's like I saw a great Facebook post, and it's my fault that I don't know the sister's name because it's an iconic picture. But they showed this little girl, Nate, back in the 60s, dressed like she's going to the Easter ball, like we used to dress back in the, the mid 70s type, going to school, has a little bag and everything, surrounded by FBI and National Guard troops. Because she's going to school and she's leaving school, and you got adult, white conservative type parents Drop yelling at this little girl, calling her every name in the book. But you got some white lady scared that her son might read Beloved. That's the point I'm trying to make. So again, Nate, I have a utter disdain for conservatism. It's not what it's meant in this country's history. And I even have a greater disdain for black conservatives because you're caping for an ideology that has always been against the progression and movement of people. And more importantly, in this country, Drop, that you talk about is American history, black Americans. I just saw a story the other day, Nate, I think the Congressman's name is Molden. He's a Democrat, former veteran. Well, he introduced a bill to get black veterans from World War I. And I know MP's out there, Anthony, I know he can probably find the story because I know I'm mangling probably some of the facts. But the point is, he introduced the bill so they can, it's almost like you can call them GI Bill reparations, because back when black veterans came back from the war, they didn't have access to the GI Bill money, Nate. And they talked about how the GI Bill back then actually, built the American middle class. But guess what? It didn't happen for black middle class people. And that's the point. So he's introduced this bill to get the money to the descendants of these World War I and II veterans. And I think that's significant. But again, that might be teaching CRT, Nate. And we don't want, kids to get traumatized. You want to find out that people were royally screwed over. And you can't get more patriotic, in my opinion, when you defend a country that don't want to defend you. That's why Muhammad Ali said, no Vietnamese ever called me the N-word. Excuse me, Nate. It was past 8:30. It's 9:30.
You said something right there. Excuse me. You're right. What is more patriotic than a person that defends a country that doesn't defend them? You're right about that. It's a great flow.
Let me think about it. These are the same people that tried to pass off Jackie Robinson was just some pushover. No, Jackie Robinson was a rebel as hell. He was militant as hell. Jackie Robinson, I've said it before. I know I'm repeating myself. Jackie Robinson might be one of the most significant sports/political figures in our history. It was because of Jackie Robinson and his influence that black people left the Republican Party. Go back and read your books, kids. Oh, yeah. Jackie Robinson, he was actually a supporter of Richard Nixon. Oh, I know. And believe me, people look at you. I know Tricky Dick did some tricky things, but he actually introduced affirmative action into, legislation. But again, Jackie Robinson he talked to Richard Nixon and said, hey, we need to do something about this Barry Goldwater guy. He's out there campaigning against the Civil Rights Act, talking about nullification, states' rights. All these black people that are currently Republicans, they're going to lead the Republican Party. Did they heed his words, Nate? History has been changed ever since. Nate, I got to get out of here, man. If I'm lying, I'm flying. At the end, I still hope y'all getting what I'm spitting. Petty peace.
Appreciate the calls. Matter of fact, lots of great calls this morning. And with that, I'm going to take a quick break. Just one song. We'll play a song, and then we'll come right back. This is the Nathan Ivey Show, where nothing is funnier than the truth. Men are allowed, damn it, scratch that. Men are expected to be men. And of course, lames get their plane shot down like John McCain. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
Lately, my thoughts got me distant. Darker days filling up darker minds. Stuck in this room that keeps spinning, wondering how you been, where you hide. Late night drinking, wishful thinking, what if you were here? Morning waking, heart still aching, something about the way you make me feel. I don't wanna mess up your night, I don't wanna put up a fight, I don't wanna trouble you, babe, but I gotta say, I don't wanna waste no more time trying to shake the feelings inside. Finally got made up my mind, can't go one more day without you. No. Lately there's something that's missing. Empty bed doesn't feel empty hearts. Typical me reminiscing. A memory doesn't heal open scars. Late night drinking, wishful thinking, what if you were here? you make me feel. I don't wanna mess up your night. I don't wanna put up a fight. I don't wanna trouble you, babe, but I got to say, I don't wanna waste no more time trying to shake the feelings inside. Finally got made up my mind. Can't go one more day without you. Can't go one more day without you. No, no, can't go one more day. No, I can't. Day without you. Can't go one more day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Currently 9:41 a.m. in the Queen City. Nathan Ivey with you. And again, just want to remind you, tap into the live streams produced by our friends over at Renew Community Church. They do weekly topics that are focused on building a better relationship with yourself. This week, positive thinking and affirmations don't work unless. Learn what really works to make you happy and joyful and have fun in 2022. Now, it happens on Sundays at 11:45 a.m. on Facebook, Cincy Renew, CINCI Renew on on YouTube, Renew Community Church live stream. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Drop is an embarrassment to black men. Is he? I don't know if I would say all of that. Let me move on. Here's some local news here that you may or may not be able to use. This is being reported by Becca Costello, my friends over at WVXU. The port is buying nearly 200 rental homes with plans to make the tenants homeowners. Right. There's been a lot of conversation about whether the port is good for the city or not. But the Port of Greater Cincinnati is buying nearly 200 homes with the goal of selling each property to the family living there as renters. Let me know if you like this idea. Quote, we didn't go looking for this. It just came to us. That was Laura Brunner. She's the president and CEO of the port. Apparently, there's about 194 properties that the port put a bid in, and their idea is to purchase it and then sell it to the tenants. Quote, we know for a fact that some of the potential buyers had already told tenants, hey, get prepared to move as of January 1st because we're going to start evictions and raise the rents. The port will keep the rent at the same level while partnering with local nonprofits to get residents ready to purchase each property. How about that? I like the way that sounds. Now, the devil's in the details, right? It's all about the details of the deal. I mean, there's a way they could do that in which you're doing some. You could be transforming and creating generational a foundation for generational wealth. Buying a home. And from what I'm reading, the port is taking on about $14.5 million in debt for the project. And to be honest with you, the core of this, like essentially where we're looking at potentially, let's say that the details in these rent to own homes is favorable for the tenants. Let's say it's a deal that's set up and is structured so that financially the tenants are winning, right? Well, that's huge. This is huge. You know, taking on debt so that other people can profit. I don't know. I like the idea of it though. But what do you think? I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea. We need more of it. Spike writes, they only hate it because of the word king. You think though, Spike? Spike Loomis on YouTube. What's up, Spike? Brenda Wright, wonder what King Richard's rap sound like. He pulled a lot of women. TNT writes, just shared that in the story, two things can be true at once. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it never lies. I'm a big proponent of the truth. Give it to me. Even if the truth hurts, give it always be real with me. That way we and whoever this hypothetical person I'm talking with is, we always maintain a good relationship. And I think authenticity goes a long way. But then two, if whatever the truth is, it is what it is. Whatever happened, happened. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. I mean, why lie about it? Keep it real. Drop is high. Chip activated in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It only takes a little bit of white brainwash to activate the coon chip.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. More local news. Ohio is bracing for the legalization of gambling, sports gambling. Ohioans could be betting on Buckeyes, Browns, and Bengals. Oh my, Buckeyes, Browns, and Bengals. Oh my, Buckeyes, Browns, and Bengals. Oh my, right? Buckeyes, Browns, and Bengals. Bengals, Browns, and Buckeyes. Browns, Buckeyes, and Bengals. Bengals, Browns, and Buckeyes. Buckeyes, Browns, and Bengals, right? And other teams by 2023 under a new plan hammered out to legalize sports betting. Listen, I may post this in the Chop Shop or to my patrons, right? I'm going to start using that Patreon feed the same way. On some levels, similarly, I'm just going to start posting more news stories and things like that there. Okay? But sports betting looks like House Bill 29, it passed through the Senate, it passed through to the House here in Ohio, and it looks like the governor of Ohio is going to sign it. So as early as 2023, you can lose your money on the Bengals. You can lose more of your money on the Bengals. I mean, you could already do it. And my question is, who's going to get the money when it comes to sports betting? Like, are black people in Ohio going to get paid off of sports betting? Who's going to be able to control it? Will it just be the bars? I haven't read the details of the House bill yet. I'll dig into it so I can speak more intelligently on it, but this is going to be huge for some people. Like, if you're not in the gambling period, you don't care. If you're not in the sports, you don't care. And if you definitely aren't into sports and gambling, you definitely don't care. Now, some people say the problem with this is that the people that have gambling problems, they're going to go crazy. Like, somebody's going to lose their home over this. This is going to break up marriages. That's the other side of it, but it is what it is. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, dear brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. Sister Iris, welcome.
Hey, I just wanted to call in and give a brief update. Yesterday, one of the choppers typed in the comment section, UC, and it triggered me to remember that there was something happening with the University of Cincinnati and the police. So it got me going. I want to thank that chopper for getting me started yesterday. The deal was, Nathan, if folk were paying attention, there was, I think, what's today? Thursday. On Tuesday, and this is pretty rare for me, I missed law and public safety. And in law and public safety was a presentation that was requested by the chair of law and public safety from the University of Cincinnati, the director of public safety, and he is the chief of police for the University of Cincinnati, James L. Whalen. Police Chief Whalen, Public Safety Director Whalen, went into law and public safety and talked about a memorandum of understanding between the University of Cincinnati and the city of Cincinnati as it related to UC's police patrolling on the city streets again. From that moment, after the police chief testified and all the questions were asked, the story became fuzzy. When I woke up yesterday and I got the story on Wednesday, it said that UC would be allowed to patrol on the streets. Well, that's a trigger. Because after the murder of Sam DuBose and the unconstitutional policing that had been done by the University of PD as it related to Ray Tenzing and anyone else who participated in that was on that force, the MOU that UC had with the city of Cincinnati allowing UC's PD to patrol on our streets had been revoked. And it had been set back to where they needed to patrol, which is very important for this conversation. and where they need to patrol on their campuses, on their property, student housing, those types of things, right? So the story read that they were coming back on the streets, and the law and public safety chair was talking about how he had done all these things, and this was a great day in the city of Cincinnati. Well, that was triggering. It's triggering for the DuBose family, triggering for my family, triggering for Black families across the city of Cincinnati. And we started to activate. I called the city manager, mayor-elect, city council people. How could this possibly be without community engagement? How could we possibly be having this particular conversation about UC police coming on the streets to patrol, and communities have not weighed in, don't know any of these particulars or any of this? Well, I finally got through to one of the assistant city managers that called and said, we're on top of this. We really didn't have a clue about it. Folk didn't know what was happening, but let us look into it. Ultimately, what happened, Nathan Ivey, was that the city manager called right before the council meeting and said, we're pulling this, we're going to dial this back. We thought that there was a lot of community dialogue that had been had around this particular issue. We didn't know that you didn't know. We were supposed to be given a presentation on this. When I say we, I mean the Black United Front and our attorneys, meaning Al Gerhardtstein. We were supposed to get a briefing on this, to look at it, to talk about it months ago, and we had not gotten any of that. So, I'm talking with, of course, I'm the legal redress chair for the NAACP and the public safety chair. So I chair two committees. I was talking with the NAACP president yesterday, talking with ACLU, talking with the Center for Social Justice, talking with the Children's Law Center, just talking with a multitude of people that were very concerned that this was happening, talking with OJPC that this was happening and that the bell had not been rung. And people were pretty surprised that there was no opportunity to weigh in. And so folk were looking at me like, what the hell is going on? You didn't tell us about this. Had no clue. I finally talked with Mr. Whalen yesterday evening. He has agreed to come on Freedom Friday on Friday. He assured me that what is happening in the MOU that needed to be refreshed between the city and the University of Cincinnati, I want the choppers and you to hear me, Nate, was that they were simply adding in the new student housing that had been built. I don't know what street it's on, but they have the map attached to the MOU that I will send to you, so you can show the choppers. And we look at these things, right? Because we need to make sure that the details match the headlines. You can tell me one thing, but I need to read it, understand it, look at your drawings, and then interpret it as to how we digest what the opportunity for UC police, when they are policing, what type of discretion do they have? What does this actually say? And there's some words in the MOU that trigger me also. But that's why I want to make sure that we all take a look at this and that we all weigh in. We all have a perspective, and especially those of us who have been monitoring and watching policing in this city and across the city from different police municipalities. So not only did Mr. Whalen send me the current MOU, but he said to me on the phone, he said, Iris, you can compare the previous MOU. Not only am I going to compare that previous MOU, I'm going to compare it to the previous one before that, because that one had to be revised after the murder of Sam DuBose. So Nathan, I'm going to send you that. We are reviewing it now, meaning our attorneys are reviewing it. I want to make sure that the community has an opportunity to review it, to look at it, and to weigh in. The other thing that Mr. Whalen said to me was that they're not going to do any traffic stops. But that's not the only thing that concerns me, because stuff can go wrong in a pedestrian stop. So even if I'm not in a car, if I'm walking down the street and I'm Black and I'm around the university, I need to make sure that there are mechanisms that are tracking their police officers. And I know that they just went through a huge revision of all of their protocols, the procedures, all the stuff that the Indigo report gave out, all these things that they mimic from the city of Cincinnati, from their uses of force, their training now, all that great stuff. Still, they're not under the CA. So don't get it twisted. They still have, their own set of disciplinary policies and rules and guidelines. So I want to be clear. The reason that the pushback came from the Black United Front, the leaders of the free world, is that we had no role in this. We did not get to see this. We certainly do not, and I don't think that the UC police deserves to be back on our streets patrolling at all, not unless it is UC's property that they own. I understand that they have to take care of their student housing. I understand that they have to patrol their buildings, but keep it there, nothing else. And I want to ensure that this language reflects that. So that is what has happened. I was told yesterday by the city manager and several council people that that particular document was put on pause. There was no vote. I watched the city council yesterday. There was no vote, although it was voted out of the Law and Public Safety Committee. The last thing that I'll say is simply this, community. The way that we continue to do this work is that folk have got to talk. When you don't talk to us and then we get this after the fact and all of that, you're going to be met with anxiety and angst and a whole lot of damn anger. And I'm simply saying to all of the leadership, talk to communities. This is the foundation of the CA. It doesn't make any sense that we're in this particular place being distracted because somebody decided they don't want to talk to nobody. That's just ridiculous. Because what UC police do on our streets impacts us. Now, Mr. Whalen did tell me that he did his due diligence. He talked to all the folk in Clifton, to the students, all the people that he was supposed to check out on his box. It's just that the city of Cincinnati dropped the ball. And the person that was responsible, that I was told was responsible for that, just didn't do it. So, needless to say, I have 3 MOUs to review. Our attorneys have them. And I want to make sure that the community takes a look at them and be able to weigh in, and that you all understand what is happening day to day as this thing unfolds. So that is my report this morning. Dear brother, got any questions?
I do not. I believe I understand everything that's going on.
All right, sir. So I am going to send you the 2 MOUs that I have. If anyone is interested in checking out the police chief and the public safety director for the University of Cincinnati, he will be on Freedom Fridays with us on this Friday at 4 p.m. So we can hold him accountable to the words that he's saying. He is retiring in 2 weeks. And so, I found that kind of strange that we would make such a drastic change, knowing that Elliot, the chief of Cincinnati, is retiring and James Whalen is retiring. That's just too much change right now. So I just wanted to give you that report, and I'll send you the MOUs, dear brother, and hopefully this will bear out the way that we need it to bear for the community.
All right. Thank you for the call.
All right. So you have a good one.
You too. That's Sister Iris giving us a community update. I appreciate it. So I don't know who posted it, but it struck me as well. And then she and I actually talked about it between yesterday's show and this morning's show, and kind of put it on my radar screen. And I agree with the comment that TNT posted, that I don't have, and I graduated from the University of Cincinnati, and I have no confidence in UC police either after what happened with Sam DuBose. So just stick to your patrols on the campus, and we don't need you pulling motorists over. That's probably one of the reasons why, because I live in the Clifton, Coreyville area. That's probably one of the reasons, when I think about it, if UC police aren't doing any traffic stops in and around UC, that's probably the reason why I'm seeing an uptick in all these crazy ass drivers, people driving through lights and doing all the kind of most unlawful shit you can do in a car because there's no resistance. Could be. So there's a consequence to it. But no. Stick to the campus, stick to, the drunk people and responding to the halls and things like that. We don't need you doing nothing more than that. No, we don't need that. Interesting. So basically, they weren't sure as to what the role was going to be of UC police. Were they going to be doing traffic stops? Were they going to be going to things that's just in the Coreyville area? If so, wait a minute, let's have a conversation. And just to break it all down, in case you missed it, what she was saying is that there's people in the community that have put themselves in a position to respond to and to give opinion about these kind of things, and that the city administration dropped the ball on that. Now, the question will be, I've heard a lot of things like that while John Cranley's been in office. Is the city administration a reflection of the guy or the person at the top? At this point, is John Cranley. Will there be a difference? Will AFTAB Purevol's administration be more open to the community? I can see that being a problem, right? Because the perception is that AFTAB is going to be so different from John Cranley, and black folks voted for you, and you said you were going to do this, you're going to be transparent. Well, when you do that, when you come in office, to your enemies, you've got given them ammunition, right? Because now it's all about, are you going to do what you said you were going to do? Have you done enough? And then even in the community, people who are not oppositional to you or have any issue with you, it's kind of like you've built up this expectation and now you got to live up to it. And when you don't, it's kind of like, see, I told you they don't care about us, right? I can hear all the shit already, man. I already know how some of this conversation is going to go once AFTAB Purevol and the new city council comes in. There's going to be some people where they can make no mistake whatsoever. Y'all got all them black folks down there. The Democrats is running thing, and you got AFTAB. You couldn't get this done. And I mean, that certainly is a conversation that we should have with council and the mayor, but we got to get these folks, we got to at least give them a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll know right off the bat. We'll know within the first 6 months what it is and what it's not. Like, we'll know. But they may not have but in 6 months, they may not have had enough scenarios in which we can properly and should properly judge, how good they're going to be in terms of the return to the community. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. I'll put it that way, to say the least. UC police is paid by the students' tuition, and that's who they need to concentrate the services to. Otherwise, assisting CPD take away from their safety. Agreed on all levels. But back to sports gambling. House Bill 2029 will allow Ohio to offer up to 25 5-year licenses for applicants that can bank a bet, such as Ohio's 11 casinos and rancinos, to partner with online and mobile app-based betting services. You're going to have a lot of people who are not based in Ohio that's going to want to do business in Ohio. My question is, I wonder how much of this is going to go to black folks. I don't know. But I do know you're going to be inundated with all of that. Like when Ohio goes legal, during the Bengal games and all that kind of stuff, you're going to be inundated unless they put up a moratorium with all those kind of ads from DraftKings. And I mean, it is a bunch of these websites just popping up now, and people that's already been established. Hedge funds are getting into this. A lot of folks are getting into this because Americans love their drugs, they love their food, and we love to gamble. Some of us love to gamble. What's the most money you ever gambled, and what were you doing? If it's not appropriate. If it's inappropriate, don't tell me. But I'm just curious, what's the most amount of money? I mean, the most amount of money was probably like, I don't know, $300-400, something like that. I'm gambling with my uncle. You know what I'm saying? We playing spades. We created our own little spades game that was highly competitive, and we're playing that. Right. And through that process, we started betting for money. First, he started betting for favors, and then we started betting for money. So, like, if I win, he had to go to the store and get something for me. You know what I'm saying? I used to send him to go get me White Castles or something like that. Or if he won, I had to do this, that, and the other. Then we start betting for furniture, because he had an apartment on the second floor. My apartment was on the third floor in our grandparents' home, right? And so we both had it all decorated the way we wanted. But he has some nice little items out there. I used to play him for. And then we graduated playing for money. And we got to a few $100s. Just got paid Friday night. I'm playing cards with him all night. You know what I'm saying? For years we did this. It was hella fun. And I can't play. It's hard for me to play games now. Like cards, I can't play cards if I'm not playing for money now. You know what I'm saying? Betting does that to you. Like when you play something for money, it raises the stakes for you. And it's just certain times you can never do certain things for fun. So every once in a while I play cards. I had to get out of it with the wifey because I wanted to bet with her. Let's bet for favors. And when you're dealing with a wifey, they become a certain type of favor. You already know. If I win, this is what I want. And if you win, you tell me what you want. Cool. Let's play. Nat writes $1,000 on blackjack. Really? Wow. $1,000 on blackjack? Damn. Listen, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I will be back and better than ever tomorrow morning, bright and early. We'll chop it up on people, politics, and pleasure. Have a great Thursday. Have a powerful Thursday. Have a tremendous Thursday. And remember our motto. Winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning. And we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivey. May the flows be with you. And I'm out.